So today we see the lesson microorganism, some basics. So these are some of the microorganisms we might come across. So what is microorganism? Microorganisms are very small in size that they cannot be seen through naked eye. These organisms can be seen only with the help of an instrument called microscope. So that looks like this. So we keep the substance here, then look through this. There are a lot of adjustments we can do, magnify them and see. Okay. Therefore, they are also known as microbes. Since they are able to see only through microscope, there's another name for microorganism, that is microbes. The science that deals with the study of microorganism is known as microbiology. So this type of courses are available when you go to higher educations. Where do we find these microorganisms? If we ask that question, they are found everywhere. Okay. They are found in air, water, soil, and even inside our human bodies. So water includes all these places, ponds, lakes, rivers, oceans, wherever water is there. These microorganisms, they remain inactive under unfavorable conditions. They just be there waiting for the right opportunity to attack the living people or living organisms. And they become active during favorable conditions. These conditions could vary depending on the weather, climate, and your immune system in your body. All that. So some of the microorganisms found in soil are just listed down here. These help the soil to get more fertile and help the plants to grow further. So these things we'll see in a later presentations. And in the water, you see this kind of microorganisms. There are both positive and negative effects of these microorganisms in a water. So this whatever you see here, therefore even in a drop of water, some of these microorganisms may be there. And these are the microorganisms, what you see, this is in our system, our human body inside. These microorganisms of some bacteria like this are inside our system also. As I said earlier, they have both positive effect and negative effect. So microorganisms can be categorized under 5 categories. Okay, so one is virus, the second one is bacteria, fungi, algae, and protozoa. So these 5 types of microorganisms are there. Any microorganism can be grouped under one of these 5 types. Let us see one by one what is virus, what is bacteria, what is fungi, algae, and protozoa. Okay, virus means actually poison in Latin. Okay, no wonder it kills people. A virus is a tiny particle made up of genetic material and protein. The DNA and protein, they make this particular type of microorganisms, the virus. So virus is a tiny particle made up of genetic material, the DNA material, and protein. They are intermediate between living and non-living things. So when we categorize things into two, living and non-living, these viruses come in between. The study of this type of virus is called virology. All this corona, all this stuff, they come under this category. So virology and microbiology people are supposed to find the medicine for all this. Okay, so viruses have different shapes. Some may be circular, some may be triangle sort of thing. So they have a different shapes. They can be rod shaped, like a rod, spherical, or of other shapes. What you see like the corona depiction is like a sphere with spokes all around. So these are the typical structure of some viruses around. The structure of the virus, for example, looks like this, what is shown here. The virus contains a core DNA or RNA, which is a genetic material. Surrounding that core is a protein coating or membrane. In some viruses, the protein coat is covered by an envelope. It's again made of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. So, a virus basically contains a DNA or RNA material, genetic material, that is surrounded by a protein cover or membrane coat. That protein cover, in some viruses, the protein coat is covered by another envelope or more overlapping, which is made of proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. These are all available inside our body. These envelopes have spikes that help the virus particles attach to the host cells. So spikes mean something what you see here. In the corona case also, there is this finishing here. It's more of sharp. That's why it attacks a lot of people and easily it multiplies. Viruses cause many diseases to plants, animals, and to human beings also. So in case of viruses, they show living and non-living characters. That's what we saw in the earlier slide. So what are the living characters they show? They respond to heat, chemicals, and radiations. Any living organisms will react to this way. There's a heat, there'll be reaction. If there's a chemical put on them, there'll be a reaction, radiation also. Also, they reproduce inside the host cells and produce copies of themselves. So once they attack the body, they get multiplied by themselves. That is the problem with virus like corona. It multiplies within a few short period of time. It multiplies in thousands and millions. So body becomes very weak. So some of the non-living characters of the viruses, they are inactive when present freely in the environment. So in the air or water, whatever it is, they are inactive. They are just there. They don't react to anything. They can be crystallized and stored for a long time. So they, like any other material, they can be crystallized and stored for a very long time, like other non-living things. So the non-living characters of virus is very, very harmless, looks like, but when it becomes active, then becomes a problem. Next thing is the bacteria. Bacteria are considered to be the first living organism on Earth. Bacteria are grouped under the kingdom Monera. So bacteria comes under this category called Monera. Bacteria are single-celled prokaryotes. That means there's a cell, single cell, but there is no nucleus inside the cell. Normally a cell will have a nucleus at the center, then other things will be surrounding the nucleus. So in this case, bacteria has cell but no nuclei. The size of the bacteria ranges from 1 micrometer to 5 micrometer. Micro means 10 power minus 6. So 1 into 10 power minus 6 is the size minimum. Maximum it could be 5 into 10 power minus 6. Very, very small. The study of the bacteria, like virology, this one is known as bacteriology. So these are the different science terms used to indicate the study of that particular item, bacteria, virus, or that. Basically, bacteria can be grouped into two types based on their respiration, how they breathe, okay, respiration. One is aerobic bacteria, other one is anaerobic bacteria. Aerobic type requires oxygen to breathe and live. Anaerobic, they don't need oxygen to breathe. Without oxygen, they can survive. So, in case of bacteria, coming under Monera, single-celled, the size 1 micrometer to 5 micrometer. Bacteriology is the technology term used for studying about bacteria. And there are two types of bacteria. One is aerobic and another is anaerobic. Aerobic means they require oxygen to live in, like human beings. Anaerobic, they don't need oxygen. Without oxygen also they can survive. The cell structure is basically shown here for you. The bacterium has an outer covering known as cell wall. Cell wall is there. See here, outer cover. This one, cell wall. Nuclear material is represented by a nucleoid without nuclear membrane. So nucleoid is there, but there is no nuclear membrane for bacteria. So this is basically a simple structure of a bacteria. So depending on the number of cells and how they are shaped, bacteria are classified into different types. The one known as Bacilli or Becali is a rod-shaped bacteria. Becali is a rod-shaped bacteria. Then there is another called Spirella, that is a spiral shaped. Spirella is a spiral shaped. Then Hurki, that is a ball shaped one. Then we have a Vibrio, which is a comma shaped one. So depending on the bacteria, the shape also changes. So there are 4 types, 1, 2, 3, 4. So how do the bacteria live? Where from they get their food, other things is shown here. They get the food in 2 types. One is the photosynthetic bacteria. They make their own food. Bacteria that live in harsh environment, they use chemicals, ammonia, hydrogen, sulfide, all that, to produce their own food instead of utilizing energy from the sun. In photosynthesis, or photosynthetic method, the sun energy is being used to make the food. In the other case, the bacteria, they use the chemicals to make their own food. So this process is called chemosynthesis. This is photosynthesis. This is chemo. Chemo means chemical, using chemicals. Some bacteria exhibit symbiotic relationship. That means it lives leaning on some other living organism. Bacteria reproduces by fission, binary and multiple fission. That means this bacteria multiplies on its own in a very large quantity within a very short period of time. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll see in detail the other things in the next video. Bye.